Who am I speaking with?
Ejiro.
Okay, Adrian, go on. What's your own definition of communication?
I see communication as a means of interaction between two or more persons where a message is conveyed and the message is received, understood, and the feedback given.
Okay, so thank you very much for sharing. So, Lima, did you hear Adrian's definition?
Yes, ma.
I will tend to agree more with Adrian's definition that we use. Communication is not just about transmitting information. It has to be understood after it's been sent, and there also has to be a feedback after giving communication to check that understanding has taken place. Okay? I want to give us another analogy. Who's going to be my volunteer? Kayode. I'm choosing you as my volunteer. Are you there, Kayode?
I'm with you, ma.
All right. Kayode, this is 300 naira. I need you to go into a shop and buy me toothpaste. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're enacting now, we're role playing now. So, Kayode, this is 300 naira. Please go into a shop and please buy me toothpaste.
All right. So you want me to like say something, right?
We're role playing now, so this is me telling you go to a shop and buy something. So do what you think is appropriate now. I've told you go to a shop and buy me something. So do what is appropriate.
All right. Okay, thank you. Okay, I will collect the money actually.
You collected the money.
So I will then walk to a store, a retail store to get the toothpaste, and the person that I meet over there, maybe I'll just tell the person good afternoon or good morning. I want to buy so and so, and I have 300 naira with me. I might tell the person the brand that I want. Maybe
no, let's assume you've done all. Let's assume you've done all that. So you come back to me now, and you're supposed to be presenting me with the toothpaste now.
You okay?
Okay, so present me the toothpaste now.
Okay. All right. Miss Omoteshi, so I've gotten the toothpaste that I told me to go and get, and this is it. Have it.
Okay, so what toothpaste did you get for me?
Double. 300 naira.
Saturday, I didn't tell you I wanted double. I told you to please get me toothpaste.
Oh, I think I get the cash now. You did not specify the brand that you wanted, right?
So, okay. So, Kayode, I want Colgate.
Yes. Colgate.
Yes.
Right.
So please go and get me Colgate.
All right. So I then walk up to the store again, tell the person I want Colgate toothpaste. So I've gotten it already. Then I come back to meet you, and okay, this is the Colgate toothpaste that I sent.
Oh, Kayode, this is not the Colgate. I don't want this small size. I want the big size of Colgate toothpaste.
Well, but you did not tell me you wanted the big one actually initially.
So we're getting somewhere. So now, are you blaming me? Are you blaming me? Okay.
I mean, part of the fault. I mean, you have to get part of it. Actually.
Okay, so
because you did not specify the particular size that you want.
Okay, so that's the point I'm going to. That's what we're trying to say. I'm trying to buttress communication. Communication is a two-way thing. Do you understand? It's not one-sided. I can't tell you go and buy me toothpaste. You, as the person that I'm sending on errand, you need to be able to clarify what I'm asking you to do. Do you understand? The first thing you should have asked me was, what kind of toothpaste do you want, ma? What size of toothpaste do you want? Do you have a preference for the shop you would like me to get it from? Do you understand? That's communication. Communication is not a one-way thing. You know, like what the lady that spoke, I've forgotten her name. What's her name? Eli, right?
Nima,
that spoke the first time. She just says communication transmitting information from one person to another. That's not correct. Transformation, communication is passing information from one person to the other, and the information is being understood first of all. Do you understand? And there's clarity and there's feedback. So when I tell you, Kyle, they go and get me toothpaste, you're supposed to clarify that you understand what I've said to you first of all. when you clarify what I've said to you, on my own part, I'm also supposed to check for understanding. I'm supposed to say, oh, so Kayode, what did I ask you to go and get for me? Then you now rephrase it in your own understanding, what I've asked you to go and get for me. And that's then before you can go and get it. So a good example, Kayode, please help me get toothpaste. So now with what you know, what would you say?
I'm trying to unmute. Okay, so I would ask for the size that you want, the particular brand, and the shop that you want me to go and get it from.
Okay, so Kayode, I want you to get me Colgate. It must not necessarily be 3 things, anything that you know.
No, I just, like, according to the stuff that
yes.
Already.
Okay, so now I want you to please get me Close Up, and I want the medium size, and I prefer you to get it from a ShopRite.
All right, so I think I have the necessary information needed for me to go and get it.
Okay, so now on my own part, right. Yeah, no, hold on. So now, wait, Kayode, hold on. So now on my own part now, I'm going to check. So Kayode, what did I ask you to get for me?
Close Up, medium size, and I should go get it from ShopRite.
So now communication has taken place. Do we all understand the scenario I've given?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, we do, sir.
Okay, so what are the factors that have to be in the communication process for communication to be effective? From this example that we've just done.
There has to be a sender.
Okay.
And the message and the receiver, and we expect the feedback.
Okay, with feedback too. Okay, so fantastic. So can we all say that we understand communication properly now?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay. So we're saying now how the communication works. We have the sender, we have the message, we have the receiver, and there has to be feedback to check if communication has effectively taken place. So how many types of communication do we know we have? Who is going to volunteer?
I can.
There's no right or wrong answer. This is a learning session. So whatever you feel, just go ahead. Feel free to say it. There's no right or wrong answer. Nobody's going to laugh at you. I'm going to learn from you today, just as you're learning from me too today, okay?
Okay, verbal communication and non-verbal.
Okay, fantastic. So give us an example of verbal communication.
Verbal communication is like what we're doing right now. We are speaking to each other with words. And non-verbal, it's like gestures, like gestures. When I give a thumbs up, those are my thumb. The person, I'm communicating with the person like, well done.
Okay, so fantastic, well done. Who shared with us? Who was that spoke?
Faidat.
Okay, well, fantastic, well done. Okay, so like she said, we have 2 types of communication. We have the verbal communication, like what we're doing now. It could be us writing emails, it could be us speaking face to face or speaking on the telephone. Those are called verbal communication. Examples of non-verbal communication, for example, when we wink at somebody, we do thumbs up to the person, even the way our appearance is a form of communication. Do we all know that?
Yes, ma'am.
If I come into your office now and I'm wearing a very, very short skirt and I'm exposing my cleavage and I'm so made up, heavily made up, my hair is long to my bum and everything, what am I communicating to you? Who's going to help us out here? What am I communicating to you?
Most likely a sex worker.
Exactly. So if I come dressed like that, I don't need to say it to you that, oh, I'm for sale, I'm selling something to you. Just my appearance alone tells you that, okay, this is what I'm communicating to you, okay? So it's not just when we do thumbs up, we wink at people, even our appearance shows what we're trying to communicate to people. If I come in well dressed with this jacket, my covered shoes and everything, I'm portraying the sign of a professional to you, okay? So those are all examples of non-verbal communication. Even my posture, Example, someone is speaking to you, and then you put your hands across your chest, you fold or insinuate. What does that insinuate? If I put my hands across my chest, cross my hands across my chest, and you're talking to me, what does that insinuate?
Shock. Probably you are shocked or
Sorry?
you are surprised. Probably you are shocked or you are surprised about what the person is trying to tell you.
No, if I put my hands across my chest and I cross my hands across my chest, as in,
I feel insecurity.
You are defensive.
I'm defensive, exactly. I'm
I would
defensive. I'm
say,
like,
uh-huh.
yeah. Who else wants to say is contribute? Go on.
Yeah, just like you said, being defensive, like, okay, or just say what you want to say, just be done talking. I'm listening, just say what you want to say and
Exactly.
go.
It could be that I'm saying that, I beg, what does he want to say again? Quickly say what you want to say and just go. As in, it clearly shows I'm not really interested in having a conversation with you, or I'm just waiting to see what this person has to say. Okay? Sometimes we talk to people and say, hi, how are you? I'm fine. The fine is as in the person is throwing the person's face away, but the person is saying, I'm fine. Clearly, that person doesn't really mean what the person is saying. Even though she has said, I'm fine, but non-verbally, she has communicated that she actually isn't fine, So things like that. Even with our eye movement, sometimes when someone is talking to us, we look straight into the person's eyes to show that we're following and we're communicating with the person. When we don't want, example, when we're telling lies now, a lot of times we can't look into the person's eyes, we kind of trying to avoid eye contact. You understand? The person doesn't look through us and say that we're lying. All those are all non-verbal. Yeah, so why do we think communication is important? I'm back here. Hello, I'm here.
Okay.
Okay, so why do we think communication is important? Christopher, do you want to contribute?
Okay. Communication is necessary to get things done because we find ourselves in an environment when we probably need others a whole lot to get a lot done. So we have to pass a message, and the message has to be received, and feedback will now measure how well the message was executed.
Okay, so fantastic. So we need to be able to communicate effectively so that we can talk to other people, first of all, to be able to speak to other people and engage and get involved with other people. Which other reason do we need communication for? Ife Dayo, this contributes.
Okay, communication is actually needed for orderliness. Let's assume we have builders building a house, and then there's no communication. You don't know when to bring in the sand, you know when to get the cement, you know when to put the hammers or the nails, you don't know when the painters to do their work. Everybody will just collide and just scatter everything. So for orderliness, communication is needed, so pivotal.
Okay, so that's so correct. We need it for orderliness. Grace, please, what do you want to contribute? Importance of communication or effective communication.
Good morning, Ma.
I think communication is important because it helps us understand how to relate with others.
Okay.
Like some people we might think this is what someone wants us to do for them, while that the person is thinking something else. So if the person is able to communicate properly, I think we'll be having less issues in life if we can actually
Yes. Okay.
properly.
Okay. Fantastic. I agree with you on that one. Who else is going to contribute? Princess
I think
Ogechi.
communication.
Okay. Okay, go on. Sorry. After you, then Princess Ogechi. Go on.
I said I think communication is important for understanding those levels I said, and ultimately it is the bedrock of civilization.
Okay. I agree. So, Princess Ogechi, we're waiting for you to contribute.
Good morning, ma.
Good morning, darling. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you, ma. I think communication is important for our everyday life. Everything we do basically revolves around communication. So we need it for our everyday life, at work, in our families, everywhere. We need to communicate in order for the next person to understand, or yeah, basically. So
All right, thank
that's
you.
my own.
Okay. So, for example, now, if you guys are talking to me and okay, maybe you say to me that, oh, I'm going home or I'm logging off now and everything, and I don't answer, what are you going to assume? Abib, for example.
We assume you didn't get the information.
Okay, go on. Sorry, I interrupted. Go on.
I said, we assume you didn't get the information. Probably the network is bad and you could not get us.
Okay. And what if I heard you people and I just chose not to answer?
Wow. Then that's not communication. You're not interested.
You can just even assume that I'm giving consent that people should log out. If I do not answer, it's like, okay, we're logging out, ma, and I just keep quiet. People will just think, okay, that means yes, she wants me to, or she's okay with us logging out, and then you guys log out. So if you don't communicate effectively, people start to assume things like, okay, you might take it as for consent, like, okay, yes, she's okay with us logging out, or she didn't hear us. Those are the kind of things that will happen if you don't communicate effectively. So these are importance of communicating effectively, especially in our workplace. If, for example, we don't communicate effectively in our workplace, do you know the kind of errors and mistakes we'll make? We'll just end up getting fired, God forbid. The MD says, oh, please transfer 10 million to somebody, and because you did not understand, you did not check for clarity, next thing you do, you transfer 20,000 or something, or 20 million. Do you know what will happen to you? You don't have a job after that, Sha. So those are the reasons why we need to communicate effectively, especially in our workplaces and even in our everyday life. So can you see my screen? So these are important for effective communication. First of all, it improves team building. We cannot work as a team if we're not able to communicate with each other effectively. It boosts growth. It increases innovation. It improves productivity. Like someone said earlier on, if we're going to build a house and we don't communicate, how do we know when to bring the sand? How do we know when to mix the cement? So all those things are part of it. It increases efficiency. It increases employee engagement in a workplace. So we know when it's time for lunch break, we can all go and have our lunch. We know when we're having our daily meetings because it's been communicated to us like, okay, we're having a staff meeting tomorrow. So everybody is there for it. Then it enhances our skills. If we don't have trainings where we're communicating like this, how do we improve our skills? So all these are the importance of effective communication in a workplace. Okay? Any questions? Any questions? Anyone have any question? So if you're not answering me, I'm going to assume that's a no. No one has any question for me. Am I correct?
I have a question.
Yeah, please go on.
Okay, well, you said all the importance of effective communication are really nice, and our offices are supposed to be able to be, our bosses are supposed to communicate properly.
Yes.
What do you do in a situation where your boss doesn't communicate effectively and just does stuff and assumes that you're supposed to know what to do? What do you do in such situation, man?
Okay, so that takes us back to that role play we had in the beginning, where part of communication is you providing clarity or understanding what you've been asked to do. Somebody says do something, you need to understand what the person has asked you to do before you can actually effectively do that thing. So if your boss says do this, you need to get some clarity, which is where you need to ask questions to be able to get clarity on what he's asked you to do. I gave an example. Your boss says to you that please send out 20 emails to our customers informing them that we have a promo going on for 30% discount on our newly launched products. What do? You just go out and start sending the email. Would you do that? Are you there? So I said your boss says send out an email to 30 clients informing them that we have a 30% discount on our newly launched products. He says that to you, or send you an email to do that. So what do you do?
First, I'd like to find out the target audience the boss expects me to send the mails to.
Okay.
Because I can just go and send it to anybody, and those are not the people my boss wants me to send the message to. And
okay.
I want to know which set of people in particular my boss wants me to.
Okay, outside knowing what set of people, wouldn't you also want to understand why he wants you to do that? Like, what is the goal of that exercise? Like, boss, what's the goal of the exercise? As in, are we actually giving discounts, and why are we giving this discount? Is it to get more customers, or is it to drive in revenue? Because it could be just to for activity's sake, people send out the emails, not necessarily that you're looking to drive revenue. Because sometimes you want to be busy in an organization, you just do mail blasts just to get people to start calling and everything. It's not necessarily at that point to drive revenue, but sometimes it could be that you want to drive revenue. It could be you want to create awareness that people are still in the market. So the first thing you would do is to understand the rationale behind what your boss has asked you to do. So which is, you're going to go to him and have a conversation or send him back an email. So what's the aim? What are we trying to achieve with this email? First of all, are we trying to create customer awareness? Are we trying to drive sales? You need to understand why the boss is telling you to do that. So every time, for communication to be effective, you must understand there must be clarity. There must be clarity. So meaning that you need to understand why you are being asked to carry out a certain task. Outside asking the group of people or the target market, you need to understand the reason for you doing what you're doing. When you understand the reason for doing anything, then it makes it easier, and you're able to do it and even be more innovative and creative and add your own extras to it when you understand why you're doing it. So for every time we communicate with people, there has to be a reason for the communication. There must be a reason for the communication. So next time your boss says do something, you need to find out from either you sit down with him and discuss it with him, or you send an email to provide the reason why he wants you to do this. What are you people trying to achieve? Does that make sense?
Yes, it does, but sometimes the boss will say you're asking a lot of questions and you're supposed to be smart and know what to do. That's the part I'm actually having issues with. Like, you ask your boss, okay, please, why should I send this message? What's the purpose of the mails you asked me to send? The person is like, why are you asking so many questions?
Okay. That also has to do with communication. There's a way you phrase your question that your boss will not feel like, why are you asking so many questions? If, for example, if you say, sir, our goal for sending this email, is it to drive revenue, or is it to create customer awareness? If you put it in that way to him, he's going to have to answer either create awareness or to drive sales or revenue. So he doesn't think you're silly. He already knows you've thought through the process that, okay, the reason we're doing this thing is either that we want to create sales awareness of our new products. You understand? So even when you are going to go back to your boss and ask the question, you're going to ask a smart question that shows that you yourself, you've thought through the process. So if I come to you and say, okay, sir, you've told me to send out emails. Can I confirm that the essence of sending out this email is to create awareness for our new product or is to drive sales for our new product? If you put that kind of question to your boss, I can assure you he's not going to say, oh, you're asking too much question. In fact, it will even get him to think. Maybe initially he was even thinking of just create product awareness, the new product awareness. But when you say, was it create product awareness or drive revenue, sales revenue, there's going to even stop and think, okay, that's true. It just might drive sales revenue. That's okay, the aim is for both of them. Or if the aim is, okay, no, when I was doing that, I was just thinking solely of just creating the awareness of this new product. Do you understand? So asking questions is not asking questions to irritate the person you're asking questions, but you yourself would have sat down and thought through the process and asked questions that are smart and relevant to what is asking you to do, so that you don't sound like, oh, you're being silly and you're asking too many silly questions. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much.
So does that clarify it for you?
Yes.
Okay, so when you're asking questions, make sure you've thought through the process and ask questions that are in line with what is asked you to do and that show that you have also thought about the process. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Anything else? Any other questions? Does anyone have any other questions? If you don't answer, I'm going to take it as that means nobody has any other questions, so we can move on.
Okay, ma. Sorry, ma.
Okay.
Yes, I raised my hand, but you were not seeing it, ma. Yes, ma. As regards what Grace James asked, the truth is this, ma. There are some bosses, some employers who should go through effective communication classes. Ma, I have worked with a person before who believes you be like a computer. Once it gives you instruction, you don't have any right to give him to ask to clarify. It gives you an instruction. You should be a robot, understand everything and act it out immediately. It gets irritated with the slightest question. It is not about being the question be smart or not. So I think sometimes it's not really about the employee. It's about the employer sometimes. Just have to go through, some of them just have to go through effective communication classes. And that is the truth, ma, from my perspective and experience, ma.
I agree with you that effective communication is meant for everybody, even a child, everybody, as long as you're a human being on earth, you need to know how to communicate effectively. I totally agree that effective communication is for everybody, even children need to be able to communicate effectively. So it's something that everybody needs to learn how to do. It's necessary, it's one of the tools and the skills for life. Whether you're working, you're doing business, you need to be able to communicate effectively. So I agree that everybody needs to do it. I also would like to say that I know that sometimes we do have bosses that are difficult and bosses that are not maybe as exposed as we are. Sometimes we know more than our bosses in terms of exposure and things like that. So sometimes when you have a boss like that, you understand the person and you need to find a way around, to make the person feel, because some people want their ego boosted while you work with them. You have to find a way to pamper them and ask them questions that don't make you feel, it doesn't now get back at you or be upset with you. You can even go to say, sir, I've done my research on what you asked me to do. However, I need some clarity on this. As in, if you take it to him in a really low tone, in a very, very, I don't know, like really pleading way and everything, I think, except he's really in a bad mood, I think he would actually respond in a nice way. That's what I think. If you really like it in a pleading way, there's a way, when you work with people, you really, at the end of the day, know how to handle them. If you're sensible enough, you know their weak points and then you know when they're in a good mood, when you can ask questions, you know when they're not so good mood. So sometimes maybe you need to wait till the person is in a good mood and then you ask the person, regards to what you said we should do, we've actually done our research and we've discovered this. However, I just need to clarify from you if X, Y, Z, this. sometimes it will work. And if he still goes to shout at you and say, just go and do what I've asked you to do, and then you will now have to use your own discretion to and do what you think you understand he said you should do. Do you understand? But that's not him communicating effectively to you. That's the truth. Okay. Any more questions or any more contributions? Nobody's answering, so I'm taking that yes, everybody understands. Hello.
Hi.
Can I go on? Can I move on?
Yes,
Can I move on?
You can.
All right. Okay. So
Yes, please. You can.
okay. So when we talk of effective communication, we need your communication to be clear, very, very clear. Personally, when I first became a manager in my career, I used to struggle with providing team. I'll say do A, and then I'll be thinking, no, do B, and then I can come back and say, okay, let's just do it this way, do C. So now, in a nutshell, I've given them how many instructions? 3 different sets of instructions. So when we did one time, we had something called the 360 feedback, and somebody came to said on their feedback that I don't provide clarity on my instructions. So I had to sit down and check myself, as in really. Then I realized that a lot of times I'll say do A, next thing I'll come back in like 5 minutes, I'll say do B. Maybe another 10, 15 minutes after I've thought through the whole thing, I'll say no, do C. So now they're a bit confused, like should I do A, should I do B, should I do C? They don't know what to do. So we're saying now that for effective communication, there must be clarity. If you want to say do A, it should be do A. It's not do A, come back 10 minutes, do B, come back next minute, do C. Do you understand that? It has to be very clear. Like, this is what you need to do, and this is what you need to do. If you want to discuss about it before you say this is what should be done, you can talk about it and then come to an agreement, but it should be clear that she has said do A. So effective communication, there has to be clarity in it. It must be very concise, very, very, very concise. It must be concrete, it must be coherent, it must be complete, and it's not with rudeness when you tell people to do things or when you're communicating with people. There's no reason on earth for anybody to be rude to another person. It doesn't bring more money, extra money to anybody's pocket being rude. It doesn't make you a better person. It doesn't make you sassy. Do you understand? Being rude should not even come in when you communicate with people. No matter who you're communicating with, even if it's your child, even if it's a little baby, we must always be courteous when we communicate with people around us. Then, part of effective communication is listening for understanding. When someone is talking to you, you need to listen and understand what the person is saying to you. It is very important to be able to communicate effectively. Then you need to always learn to focus and pay attention when someone is communicating with you. A lot of times, when people are talking to people, sometimes they're distracted. Either they're looking at their phone or playing with their phone, or they're looking at their watches, or things like that. When someone is talking to you, and for you to be able to understand clearly what the person is saying, you actually need to pay attention. Because if you don't, seriously, you will not understand what the person, you will get lost in between. You might hear part of it, and then the other part, you will miss out on it. So it's important to be focused and pay attention when we're talking to people. Okay? Then, emotional awareness and control. This is something, as you go into your career, you need to be very, very conscious of. Your emotions should not control or define you. Everybody has their issues every day. If your boss should tell you his issue at work, maybe he has taken a loan to set up the business. He's supposed to be paying back on the loan. The business is not generating enough money to pay back on the loan. Well, he's not going to come to work and start taking it out on you and shouting at you and saying, oh, get out of there. This is because he has his personal issues. He's not going to do that. If everybody should take out their personal issues on each other, I'm not sure anybody will be standing. Everybody will be dead by now. Do you understand? So regardless of whatever our emotions, what we're going through at home, in our personal lives and everything, we don't bring it to work. And even when at work, a customer shouts at us and insults us, We, under no circumstances should we take it out on anybody, be it the customer or our colleagues or anybody around you. We need to learn how to control our emotions. You come to work, God forbid, the day on your way to work, they told you that, oh, you just lost a close relative and everything. You now get to work, you start bitching around for everybody, like, leave me alone, I can't talk. You just start, okay, if you do that, for how long will you still have friends in that office? I'll give you a very good example. You're in customer care. You answer phone calls every day on the telephone, and you have an angry customer, they call, they start insulting you, stupid girl, stupid Obiageli, la 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 la, idiot. He says, I'm going to get your boss to sack you. La, 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 la. They talk. Obiageli, is you are using as our example. They talk. Then you hang up the phone. The next thing, Grace comes to you, say, Obiageli, please can you help me with that tax that our boss said we should do? You start to shout at her, oh, I mean, get up, leave me alone, I'm not in the mood. Robbie, you know, shout at her and everything. Can you imagine? That one goes, how do you think Grace will feel after that towards your Obiageli, first of all? As if that's not bad enough. This happened on Monday. On Tuesday, another customer calls, they rain insult on you this time they will insult your mother and father on top of the whole thing. The next thing, Damilare comes to you and says, okay, Obiageli, help me do this. And I say, hey, I beg, hold your own, it's too much, don't give me stress, I'm stressed up enough as it is in this office. I beg, leave me in my space. That one pass, that's on Tuesday. So remember, you and Grace, you're falling out on Monday. On Tuesday, you and Damilare, you've had it hot again now. On Wednesday again, you have another angry customer. This time you take it out on Collins. Hey, hold yourself, I beg, I have my stress, I don't need you to add your own to it. That's it. By the end of the week, would you really, really have any friend in that office? Okay, we used to.
Good morning, man. No, definitely I would not. Hello.
Hello.
Okay, yes. Good morning. I said definitely I would not have any friend in the organization anymore.
Exactly. So what was be able to control your emotions regardless of what's going on around you, because if you keep letting your emotions take control of you, you won't be able to communicate effectively with anybody. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. All right then. So any questions? Any questions?
No more.
We know that. We know all these things now, how to make sure our communications are effective. We know it has to be clear, it has to be concise, it has to be concrete, it has to be coherent. Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes, you can, sir.
It keeps going off and on. It keeps breaking. Yeah. So we're saying that even when you know all the right things to do in regards to communication, sometimes there will be some barriers to effective communication. For example, a noisy environment, in a very noisy environment, you might not be able to talk. If, for example, you're in a market now and you're trying to talk to somebody on the phone in a marketplace, you know that communication is not going to be effective. The person would hardly hear you. You'll be able to hardly be able to hear the person. So no communication will take place in that kind of situation. Then also inappropriate medium of communication. And what example should we give for this one? For example, you are at work and you know, okay, in fact, you're in a training like right now. You're trying to chat with your friends and everything. As much as you try to chat, in between you will not be consistent. Why? Because you will try to concentrate on the person training and then at the same time trying to chat. So you will not be able to communicate as effectively as you would. Sometimes when we are assuming things a lot, sometimes some people know it all or they assume they know it all. It also hinders communication. We're talking about Chelsea now. That's my favorite football team. And I feel like I know everything about Chelsea right now. And then somebody's coming and talking and telling me this. I'm like, I beg. It's a lie. We won all the championship in this year. I'm already in this thing, creating a barrier to communication because the person that I'm talking to is not even going to be able to talk as freely and tell me as much information because the person is talking to is assuming too much or knows too much already. Do you understand? Another example is our emotions. Somebody that, God forbid, has just lost somebody, the person is crying, and you're trying to tell the person one or two things. Is the person going to be able to communicate with you? No, the person won't be able to communicate with you. Then we're speaking to somebody, we're speaking English, the person doesn't understand English, the person only understands Yoruba. There won't be communication in that situation, will there? Communication will be hindered. Then cultural differences. Different cultures, they have what's peculiar to them. So if you go somewhere and you do something that is not strange to them, they could take it for a sign of rudeness as opposed to not knowing that that's your culture, So things like that are cultural differences. Then another thing that is really important or that can hinder effective communication is poor listening skills. A lot of us, a lot of times, we don't listen properly to when things are being said to us. We just assume we're listening, but our minds are racing to other topics. Our minds are racing to what we respond to the person that's talking to us. For example, now, as we're having this training, Damilare is thinking that if I ask him a question now, this is what he's going to tell me already. He's already planning it in his mind. I've not even asked the question, but that's how some of us operate by default. We're already planning our response to someone that we're talking to without the person even finishing saying what the person is saying, or our minds are racing to other things. For example, if I is expecting an alert today now. As I'm talking to him now, all he's doing is looking at his phone to see whether that alert has come now. So anything I'm saying at this point in time, it's not really here, I'm talking, but he has glanced at his phone now. That alert has not entered. That alert has not entered. So those are kind of things. So we need to learn proper and cultivate good listening skills so that we can grab everything that is being said to us. Then we talk about the use of jargons. What we mean by the use of jargons is that in everybody's sphere of life or field or career or their profession rather, they have terms or terminologies that are peculiar to their profession. For example, if I was a doctor now and I'm talking to say I'm an appendectomy or something like that, for a layman, he does not know what appendectomy is. Do you understand? So when we're talking to people, generally, people that are not our colleagues, we need to always break it down and use simple terms and simple languages that they will understand so that they can communicate with us effectively. I'm an IT person by profession. I spent most of my career life in IT. So if I start telling you the servers or interactive, digital, one thing, you'll be like, what's she talking about? When I can simply say, we just have a whiteboard that we can do this, So it makes it easier when we simplify it instead of using our technologies as regards to our profession, especially when we're talking to people that are not our colleagues. Then When there are distractions around you, obviously you cannot concentrate and communicate effectively. Okay, so those are some barriers in communicating effectively. But having all these barriers, does it justify poor communication? I need people to answer. With having all these barriers, does it justify poor communication? Should I volunteer someone to answer, or you who guys are going to answer? So, with all these things now, if I'm in a noisy place and everything, does it justify poor communication? If I answer,
No, ma.
it doesn't. So, regardless of the situation or condition around us, we must communicate effectively. All these barriers to communication does not justify poor communication. I'll give you a good
I
example.
can't see your screen.
You can't see my screen. Why is that? Every other person, can you see my screen?
No, ma.
Yes?
No, we can't see your screen, ma.
No,
We
ma.
can't.
I don't
Okay,
think
hold
it's-
on.
I can see your.
I think I shared it, but when the network went off that time, I probably didn't share it again. Hold on, let me share it again. Okay, now, with all this.
Yeah, I actually think it's more beautiful this way.
Okay, but can you see my screen now, everybody?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Yes, ma.
Yes,
Okay, so we can see all the barriers to effective communication. So we're saying now, we're rounding up and summarizing that regardless of all the barriers to effective communication, it does not justify poor communication. I'll give you a good example. For example, you work in a call center and they pay you according to the amount of calls you make every day. For every call you make, you get 100 naira. So you will tell me now that because the place was too noisy, you did not make calls for the whole day. Will you get paid? You will get paid now. So you yourself, would you not use your your smartness and find a way around all these barriers and make sure you are able to communicate with your customer every day? Or will you wait for management to come and sort out the issue before you start making your calls? Otherwise, you won't get paid for the whole of the month. If management say they are coming every day, they are coming to sort out the issue, and they never come for 1 month. At the end of the month, they say you haven't made any calls, we're not paying you. How would you feel? Okay, so we're saying that all these barriers do not justify poor communication. So regardless of the situation around us, we must learn to communicate effectively with people around us, okay? All right, everybody, did we get that one?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Any questions on that?
Yes, ma.
Any questions on that?
No, ma'am.
So we can move on. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. So another important skills we need is our active listening skills. That's another important skill we need to be able to communicate effectively. It was here, let me go back to this slide. So features for effective communication, there's this part that says listening for understanding. So we need to learn to grow those skills, active listening skills, so we can listen properly. Okay, so now we're saying that there's a difference between hearing and listening. Most likely the room where you are, the AC probably is on there. And until you make a conscious effort to hear that AC that is on, you probably wouldn't even have known the AC was on. All the time in every day in our environment, there are always background noises that are going on around us. Like where I am right now, there's a fan that is on right now. I've not been listening to the noise it's making, but if I keep quiet for a second, I can actually hear the noise. Do you understand that? So if you look around, I want everybody to look around there now and keep quiet for a minute and tell me the noises you can hear in the background when you keep quiet for a few minutes. So please keep quiet, everyone, and listen. So Collins, tell us what noise is playing on the background around you.
It's actually raining, ma.
Noise of rain.
Rain. But before now, the rain has been there since, hasn't it?
No, ma, it just started right now, ma.
You just started. Okay. All right. But until you made a conscious effort, as in you went quiet and listened, was it disturbing you before now?
Not really, ma. It wasn't.
Exactly. But now you are more conscious that it's raining now because I told you to keep quiet and listen for a bit. True or false?
Yes, ma. True, ma.
Okay. So I'm trying to explain the difference between hearing and listening. That hearing is everything physically in our environment. There are things that are going on around us. But until we make conscious efforts to actually listen to those things, then all that is happening is that we're just hearing them. When people are talking to you, okay, people are talking to you, you can choose to go blank on them, true or false. You can choose to go blank on them, but it doesn't stop you from hearing what they are saying. They are talking, you can hear, your ears are picking up that the sound and going on around you. But until you actually stop to concentrate and listen to what the person is saying, it is only then you can understand what the person is saying. So for listening, you actually choose to be part of the process. But for hearing, it's just going on around you. Is that clear? Okay, Shay, can you explain to me, explain to me what I've just said about the difference between listening and hearing? Shay, we're waiting for you.
Hear me?
Hello.
Come on. Yes.
Sorry, I'm not hearing you well.
Can you hear me now? Hello.
Yes, I can hear you now.
Hello.
I can hear you. Go on.
Okay. Now, the simple difference I can pick from the description between listening.
Oh. You're speaking in my ears.
Exactly.
Hello. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
I can't hear you. I can't hear you squeaking one kind, of like making a really sharp noise inside. Is your phone close by or are you too close to your mic? I don't know.
Right. I said the simple difference I can pick from your description between listening and hearing is that when you actually listen, you pay attention, like you make use of your senses in some cases, you make use of your senses to be able to pay attention to what's going on around you. While hearing is just you will not pay proper attention, but you listen, you pay attention. That's the simple difference I can guess. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. That's correct. So he said it right, that with listening, you actually need to pay attention and be involved in the process of listening. But hearing is just passive, things that are going on around you. Maybe rain is falling, the AC in the background, all those things, they're happening around you. But until you actually pay attention to it, you can barely notice them. Okay, so that's the difference between hearing and listening. And it says that for us to be able to effectively communicate, we have to learn to listen. So we have to actually be involved in the process of listening. We need to learn to pay attention to be able to understand what people are communicating to us. I hope that's clear. Yes, is that clear?
Okay.
Thank you. Well done, Chi. Okay, so we'll go to our next slide. Okay, so part of being able to listen actively we need to, it's a process of recognizing, understanding, and accurately interpreting the message that is being communicated and responding to verbally or non-verbally to messages. When we are actively listening to people, we need to show that we're listening to them. We can do things like nod our head non-verbally, say, okay, go on, I can hear you. We can say yes, answer yes, okay, go on, okay. We need to show that we're listening to people. So we need to acknowledge that we're listening to people. It can be verbally, it can be non-verbally. I hear you. Yeah. That we're listening to be able to a small size of Colgate toothpaste from ShopRite. We need to be able to ask questions for clarity to be saying to us. When the person is talking to us, we also need to be mentally evaluating what the person is saying. Okay, so he has said that to customer. You are thinking about the whole process the person has told you. And then at the end of the day, you're responding back to the person and saying, okay, ma, if I heard you correctly, you asked me to go to ShopRite to get a medium-sized close-up toothpaste. Okay, so those are the steps to show that we're. So the first step is we hear what the person is saying to us. And to show that we hear what the person is saying to us, we're going to respond by either nodding our heads or making gestures to say yes, to show that you understand what the person is saying. We're making eye contact when we talk to people to show that we're listening. Somebody cannot be talking to you and you're throwing your face away. Your person is in front of you. That's not effective communication. Someone is talking to you. You are looking and making eye contact with the person. Now I'm talking. I'm looking at Dio straight in the eyes. I can see Dio. I know he's listening to me because he's looking back at me. So I know there's communication between both of us. Then also, we need to be able to ask questions, interpret what the person is saying to us. Ma, if I heard you correctly, you want me to go and get toothpaste, or what size would you want? How much are we looking at spending to get this toothpaste? Should I go to the corner shop down the road to get this toothpaste? What this person says. So to be able to interpret what the person says, you have to be asking, say, okay, this, so that at the end of the day, you completely understand. Then you're evaluating what the person is saying. You're thinking through the process so that if there's any place you don't understand, you can easily ask a question. And then after everything, to show that you've understood the person. If I heard it correctly, you need me to go into ShopRite to buy medium-sized close-up toothpaste. Then the person that is talking to you will say, oh yes, that is correct. That's what I want you to do. Okay? Actually understand this active listening. I want two people to volunteer. I'm not going to pick the people, two people to volunteer. And I want two people to just have a on. It might not be the same concept. Active listening, you understand it. I want all the things we talked about, the steps of active listening. Like when the person is talking to you, I need to see your gesture that either you're communicating verbally or non-verbally. You're able to interpret what the person is saying. You should be able to respond at the end of the day to what the person is saying. So who are my two volunteers? Grace. Okay, and Ifedayo. So I want Grace to speak to Ifedayo. I can see both of you. So I want Ifedayo to all the steps to I want you to.
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you, Grace.
While I was trying to question, I discovered that I didn't understand some of the questions. I didn't even understand the process we're supposed to take to find out questions for ourselves. And I just tried to gather some questions. And I was able to come up with just 7 questions. I was planning to come up with 10, but at the end of the day, I was just able to come up with 7 questions. And I've sent the questions to Morifat, but I'm yet to get a feedback from her. I don't know if I did if the questions were correct, or if she actually agreed with the questions I sent to her. So what do you think? How do you think I'm supposed to get this feedback from Morifat?
Okay. If I got you correctly, you actually do not understand the process on how to go about getting the questions. And out of 10 questions, you've been able to get only 7, but you've sent the 7 to Marufat and yet to get a feedback from her, right? Okay, now you want to know how you can get a feedback from Marufat. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I would just suggest that
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. That's all I wanted to see. So well done, Ifedayo. You recapped everything she had said to you. You were keeping contact with her. I noticed you were nodding your head a little bit when you were talking to her. Eye contact, even though you were looking away. But I think he summarizes everything we talked about. He was able to nicely recap everything you had said. So that means he was definitely listening. Okay, so well done. That is, I feel like you guys understand that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. Good job. Okay, so tips for for listening effectively. The first thing is don't talk when somebody's listening. A lot of times, I'm guilty of this too. When someone, I kind of want to always interrupt already and say, "Oh, do it this way," which is wrong. So when someone is talking, you wait for the person to finish talking before you now respond appropriately. Okay? And then the other thing is not to jump into conclusions. Someone is telling you a story. You've not even waited for the person to finish. In your mind, you already think you know how the story is going to end. That's jumping to conclusion. And it doesn't help when you start jumping into conclusion, because if the story doesn't go the way you're expecting it to go, it throws you off balance. Then another thing is to learn to listen between the lines. Ask questions like I've mentioned earlier on. Paraphrase. When they say paraphrase, it's the same thing that Ifedayo did just now. He kind of recapped what she had said to him in his own, what she had said to him. Okay? Avoid distractions. That means stay focused, pay attention, keep an open mind, don't be biased, then be willing to listen to other points of views or ideas. And at the end of the day, you always provide a feedback, which is your responding appropriately. Okay? So those are your tips. Any questions?
I have a question.
Okay, go on.
Well, it's concerning job or everything. Like most of the times when you send application for a job, maybe there's a particular job opening and you take the pain of writing the cover letter, your CV, and you post it to a particular organization. I've kind of noticed that most HR don't take the time to send messages. But some organizations do it. They take their time. Once you send your email, like your CV and application, they send you a feedback immediately. Oh, thank you for, we have received your email and your CV. We are going to go through it. Organization still don't do it. So I want to ask if there's actually been a communication, if you are hoping to get a feedback and you did not get any feedback. I'm not talking about interview now per se, but just for them to know that, tell you that, okay, I've actually received your email. That's actually my question. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Good question. The appropriate thing to do in a proper structured organization, you a job application, you must always provide feedback regardless of whether the person was successful or not. Do you understand? Thank you for your interest in our organization. However, on this occasion, we have not met our requirement. We've gone through your CV and all of it. It doesn't match our job need at the moment. Some people will go as far as saying that we'll keep your CV with us. It comes up and then we can get in touch with you. But the appropriate thing to do is to actually acknowledge an email and provide the feedback to say that, okay, on this occasion you were successful or on this occasion you were not successful. I've lived abroad before and I'll tell you the truth. You can sit down and apply for like 50 jobs in a day. You will get feedback for every job. They might not come all together that day or a week's time. Even if it's 3 months later, once they've gone through that process of the recruitment and everything, and you were not successful, you would get a feedback. If you were successful, you get a feedback. So I think it's something that was beginning to understand in Nigeria. It's beginning to happen now because I noticed that when you send applications for job now, sometimes they acknowledge and say, thank you for your application. We received your application. We're still conducting the recruitment process. As soon as it's over, we'll let you know, have a feedback on your performance and things like that. So I think it's gradually, people are picking up here in Nigeria, but I know for sure in England, oh my goodness, even if you write the application in January and they finish the recruitment process in August, you will still get a feedback at that point in time when they've completed their recruitment process. So the appropriate thing is to actually to communicate effectively. You're supposed to give a feedback. It doesn't matter how long. Most of the time in emails, there's something called the turnaround time people put in their emails. Like when you send somebody an email, they'll tell you that, thank you for your email. Our response time for email is within 24 hours. So within 24 hours, you get a response from them. So with the same thing with the job, when you send an email for a job application, they're supposed, when they respond, they're supposed to tell you that, oh, we'll be concluding the recruitment process in the next 2 or 3 months. So you should get a response from us within that time. Do you understand? So they actually give you a turnaround time to tell you that, okay, the recruitment process is going to take a 3 months, a 2 months, a 1 week, and they'll get back to you as soon as the recruitment process is over. That's what they call turnaround time. So usually for effective communication, you are supposed to tell the person, acknowledge the person's application, and then at the end of the day, provide a feedback on whether the person has been successful or has not been successful. It's not been a culture in Nigeria, but it's something that I noticed that the people, a lot of companies are beginning to take on. So if any of you is HR here in this training, when you start working or if you're working now, it's something you also want to get your organization to imbibe and put turnaround time for people that are looking for a job when you send their applications, okay?
Thank you, ma'am.
All right then. Okay, any more questions? Any more questions? Can we go on? Okay.
You can go on, ma.
Yeah, okay. So we talked about nonverbal communication, what you say without saying a word, okay? So we talked about, for example, your body your hands across your shoulder. You put it across your shoulder like that. You're being defensive or you're saying, oh no, I'm not in the mood for this person. Just say what you have to say and just go away. Okay? So we're saying tips for improving your non-verbal communication. We should be conscious that our body language says a lot of things. It tells a lot about us, what we're saying, even without us saying it. So we need to be conscious of our body language or the non-verbal part of communication that we're going through. Hello.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Can anybody hear me there?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Hi, Mr. Gungu.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay. Okay. So sorry, the facilitator just communicated to me that system just switched off, and so she's trying to switch it back. So in a couple of minutes, she will be back with us. But before that time, I just want to use this opportunity to confirm from the project team leaders. I'm assuming that we have new leaders now, team leads, for all the group. Would that be correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So who is working on project one? Which team is working on project one?
Team Blue, sir.
Okay, Team Blue. Who's the project leader for Team Blue?
Oluwatosin Osinaya.
Who is the project leader for Team Blue? Who is your project leader?
Oluwatosin.
Hello, can you hear me, sir?
Hello, sir. Can
you hear me?
Yes, sir. I said Oluwatosin Osinaya.
Hear me? I'm back now, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so project leader for Team Blue.
Sir, we can hear you. I can hear you, sir. Yes, sir.
Who is the project leader for Team Blue? Please respond now.
Sir. Hello, good morning, sir. Good morning, sir. It's Oshina Oluwatosin. I am Oshina Oluwatosin. Can you hear me, sir?
Okay. Hope you guys have started your project.
Yes, we met yesterday on Zoom, and we discussed about the project moving forward, sir. So we started, sir.
Okay, that's great. Okay, that's great.
Hello, can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, sir.
I can hear you.
Okay, sir.
The other group, have we started our project?
Yes, sir. We have, sir.
Yes, sir, we have.
Okay. Is anybody having challenges in terms of their project? I just want to know. Anything?
Not yet, sir.
Please, if you have any challenge, let us know now.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
We don't from Blue Team. This is not a challenge, really. I'm just asking if there's a chance where we can send a little preview of what we have done to you to confirm whether we are in the right direction, sir. That's what I need to know. Can we send a little preview of what we've done so that you
That's
can
for group, right?
and confirm if we're in the right direction, sir? Network. This.
You're talking of group one. You're talking of group one.
Yeah, group one, sir. Group one, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Another group having any challenge? Is there any group having challenge? Please, if you have challenge, speak now before so that we can know what to do.
Sir?
Grace, are you speaking? Grace James.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
For project 3.
Okay. What's
green?
Hello, I'm back.
Okay, your facilitator is back.
Okay, sorry about that. It was, I think my computer just went blank. I don't know what happened. Okay. So can we continue, or you still have something you're discussing with them?
No, you can continue. You can.
Okay. Okay. Once I'm ready, I should just holler you for the video, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right then. Thank you. Okay. So, like we're saying, we're talking about non-verbal communication. We're talking of body language. So, things to do to improve your non-verbal communication. First of all, take care of your appearance. The way you look says a lot about you. Your appearance is your first mode of communication. Anybody that looks at you, the way you present yourself is how the person will take you. Okay? Then keep appropriate distance from people. Touch only when appropriate. I don't know if any of you have come across all these people that when they are talking to you, they must tap you. Hey, they'll tap, hey, tap. I tell you, it is so irritating. So let's try not to be one of those people. Then beware, people may give false clues. Sometimes people, like, for example, most people, when they're lying, they're telling lies and everything, they can't look you straight in the eyes to say what they're saying. But then some people are so good at it, they're so mastered the act that they're lying and they'll just be looking at you straight in the eyes and be lying to your face like, oh, this. So also beware that not all the time that some people consciously try to throw you off and give you false clues. Then always maintain eye contact when you're speaking to people and then smile genuinely. It's very important in communication. So you come across as warm and friendly. when you smile. Okay. Any questions? Do you have any questions, or should I go on? Okay. So we're moving now to yeah, that's okay. We're moving on to written communication now. When you're doing, you're communicating, you're writing and communicating, there are some things you need to think about. First of all, what audience are you trying to pass your message across to? Then the structure, the organization, and then it needs to be clear and concise, and then you have to proofread it after you write it. Okay, so the first thing you have to consider is the audience you are providing this communication to, this thing you're writing. Which people am I writing it to? Then the structure, the organization, it has to be clear and concise. And at the end of the day, you must proofread it, because you can make some tiny grammatical errors, which you would see if you proofread through it. Okay, so but one of the career, a lot of you engage in writing proposals. So proposal writing is writing offer of services to a tailored client or business for business partnership or for a relationship. For example, you have a product in your organization you want to sell to this client, or you want to get them to be aware of. So you're going to write a proposal like these are the services we run, and this is what we're offering you as a client. Then business writing is the ones you do in the office, like your emails to your internal and external customers. Okay, you're writing to your colleague, you're writing to your external customers, okay, within a business, written by the person or the business. Those are just normal business writings. Proposal is the writing offer for services or products to your clients for a business partnership or a relationship, okay? Things to consider when you're writing a proposal, you start with introducing your organization, the organization you work with. This is Knowledge Exchange Center. These are the services and the products we offer. And then you state the issue that the company you're selling to, they have, and this is what you're proposing to solve that issue. And then you come up with a schedule and a budget to match your proposal. And then you wrap higher than you to go through it for you, to make sure you haven't made any mistakes, or if anything needs to be corrected, it help you and show you where you need to correct on it. We're going to watch a video on all of this, and then we're going to also do some activities on it so that it sounds clearer, and it's clearer for everybody, because now it's just like eye level what we're saying. But let's run through all of this first before we watch the video and do some activities regards to it. So for your do's on proposal writing, you have to write clearly and concisely. You need to always do research before you write a proposal. You do research on the company you're writing the proposal to find out what they do, where they are at right now, and where your services can actually be of benefit to them. You always have to do that. You don't just go to someone and say, okay, I think I need to sell this thing to you people. You don't even know if they already have it. So you need to do your homework, find out if they have, if they don't have, if they even have challenges with that aspect of their organization, okay? Then proofread, edit your work more than once before releasing the final version. Most times, always get a supervisor or somebody ahead of you that is conversant with proposal writing to proofread it for you after you've done your own proofreading. Then keep your sentences short, and each sentence should add meaning to the proposal. It's not just writing tailored that it makes sense and it has a meaning, okay? Then your commas, your question marks, your punctuations should be correct too when you write your proposal. Then include one main idea per paragraph, although it is part of your essay writing. When you are writing, you write one idea per paragraph. So if you want to talk about the services that you guys you offer at the moment, it is per one paragraph. When you finish and you're talking about the solution, it is another paragraph. Your conclusion, it's another paragraph, okay? So the things you don't do is don't write for business audience the way you talk. The way I'm speaking to you now is not the way I'm going to write when I'm writing a proposal. It needs to be much more professional. Don't use inappropriate fonts. Every organization, they usually have the font they say that is appropriate for their staff to use for their email. For example, I know you cannot use Gammons font to write email to an organization. It's so inappropriate. Okay, most times people use Roman Times or Times Roman, or they use Arial. These are the fonts that organizations generally use. And then don't wait till last minute to start to write. You can never really rush a proposal, even if you have templates for it. It's always best to take your time to write it, because you end up forgetting and skipping some important details if you rush to write it. So if you need to write a proposal, you can say, I'm going to spend the whole day or the next 3 days writing this proposal. So you have enough time to, number one, do your research and to add as much facts to your proposal. So don't rush and don't exaggerate in what you're offering. Don't say we can give you 30% discount on this if you come on board now. Meanwhile, you've not checked your supervisor if it's possible. You don't know if it's possible. So don't exaggerate. Just because you want to sell doesn't mean you should lie or you should exaggerate in what you're offering. And then don't be unprofessional in your writing. You have to sound as professional as possible. Okay? So let's watch this video and then we'll do some activities, then we'll take questions and then we'll call it a wrap. Agogo, are you there? Just hold on, let me call Agogo.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, can we have the video now? Can we have the video now?
Which of the video you sent to me?
Have you gone through both of them?
Yeah, there's one on how to develop effective communication skill, verbal, non-verbal, and body language. And there's six steps to writing effective email.
6 steps to writing effective email.
Okay, so that's the one I should play. Okay.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Okay, so let's all watch this video.
So you can unshare your screen.
Okay.
So that I can share.
Yes, let me see how to do that. Okay.
Just give me a couple of minutes.
Okay.
Welcome to MindTools video learning series. Did you know that the average office worker receives around 80 emails a day? All of this incoming information can cause stress and tension and may cause people to miss important messages that can get lost in the pile. So in this video, we'll explore 6 steps you can follow to get people to read and act on your emails. Before writing your next email, ask yourself, is it really necessary? Would it be better to use instant messaging or the phone instead? Also, avoid sending emails that will likely create a long chain of replies or which contain sensitive information. Email is not always as secure as we like to think it is. Next, think about your subject line. This should grab your reader's attention and summarize the content of the message. For example, if you're sending a meeting reminder, avoid using an oversimplistic subject line like meeting. Instead, specify the type of meeting and the date and time. This could read something like Project Review Meeting, 11 a.m., 10th of September 2018. Keep your sentences short and to the point. The body of your email should be direct and informative. And make sure that they are focused by writing a different one for each topic you want to discuss. This will make it easier for your recipients to organize their responses. Your emails reflect your professionalism, so avoid using informal language, slang and jargon. And only use emoticons with people you know well. After all, recipients may share your emails with other colleagues or even clients. Unlike face-to-face conversations, it can be difficult to judge someone's tone from an email. So think about how your email reads before you hit send. If you think that there's potential for your feelings or intent to be misunderstood, rephrase your message so that it's clearer. Finally, take a moment to review your email for grammar or spelling mistakes and double check that it contains all the key information. For more ideas on how to craft effective and engaging emails, read the article that accompanies this video.
So welcome back, everybody. Did you all watch the video?
Yes, it was insightful. Thank you.
Okay, so I want us to recap what we saw in the video. So one after the other, what did you learn from the video?
Okay, I think I could recall making sure we don't use a generic or too light titles for our subjects. Make sure we are deliberate about our subject, the subject of the email, and
why is that? Why should we be deliberate about the subject of
when you use something like, for instance, what the guy used to something like meeting, for instance, if it was a project review, maybe kind of meeting, or maybe an urgent meeting. There are different kinds of meeting, basically.
Yeah.
So I have to be specific. What kind of meeting exactly are we meeting for? And there are different kind of projects that might be running at the same time. So which particular projects are we meeting on for? So that the person will be able to prioritize, the person receiving the email will be able to prioritize this or time and all of those kind of things. So yes, I think others still can make inputs from here.
Thank you very much. Well done. Well said. Okay, who else is going to contribute? What did they gain from that video? What did they learn from that video?
Good morning, ma.
Good morning, still morning, everyone.
Yeah. So from what I got from the video is the importance of being polite when constructing emails. We have to be polite because we don't know how far the email can be shared. It could be shared with colleagues or even clients. Also, we have to check the tone of the message.
Yes.
Because
so that's
the email
true.
sent could be misinterpreted or could be given a different meaning. So these are just some of the things.
Fantastic. So we should check our tone in our emails and should be as polite as possible when we write emails, because we don't know the extent to which our emails will go and to the people they will get to. Well done, well said. Who else is going to contribute?
Hello, good morning, Mo. One thing I got from the video was that we should always proofread. So there might be a grammatical error or something. So we should always proofread before we send our email. Thank you.
Well done, well said. Okay, so who else? Who else? Who else? All the ladies, what's going on now? The guys are winning on this one.
I want to contribute more.
Okay.
You said keep messages clear and brief.
Yes.
Like nobody really long messages. So usually people can easily get bored.
Yes.
Have a lot of information in your body of your mail. So keep it as clear and short as possible.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Anything else on the video? Anyone else?
Yes, ma.
Okay.
I particularly noted the part where it said to check the tone of the message.
Okay.
I feel that is very, very important. And I don't know, maybe there's a way, because if I read some messages, the way I perceive it might be different from how someone else will perceive it.
So true.
How do you think someone can maybe work on knowing what kind of tone your message is giving?
Hello?
Yes, did you hear me, ma?
Okay, you're saying how does one work on knowing the tone
The
of
kind
one's
of
message?
tone, yeah.
Okay, so when you read your message, to you sometimes it might sound like it's okay and doesn't feel like you're being rude on it. But when you actually get someone else to read it, person might be able to pick it out and say, okay, I think you should be polite. Do you understand? That's why I always say always get someone to proofread your work too for you, not just yourself. After you've done your own bits, you always get someone to proofread it for you.
Oh, okay, ma. Thank you.
Anybody else? Any other contribution?
Good afternoon, ma.
Good afternoon.
Okay, I was able to get this point. Avoid over communicating via email. Yeah, I think avoid over communicating.
Yes, so just keeping it simple.
Keeping it simple. There are certain things that need to be said face to face that should be said via email. Just to go straight to the point and highlight your point when email. But those are the things I was able to alongside.
Sorry, I didn't hear you properly. Can you just repeat what?
Okay, I said the don't over communicate via email. Like what I was able to grab by that is going straight to the point. There are things that just need to be summarized once one is sending an email. That's okay. You postpone it to face-to-face meeting, then you explain better. Just summarize it, go straight to the point, be polite and all that.
Yeah.
I think that's what I was able to grab from
I'm happy to see that everybody picked something out of the video. So we're going to do an exercise now. It's just a very short one, 5 minutes exercise. I want everybody, just very brief, one line, no, going with what we covered here. Things to consider when writing a proposal, or 1 or 2 short lines. Can we do this? Just very one line proposal, or each, starting with introducing your firm, talk about the problems or challenge the other organization they're having, propose the solution, include your budget and schedule, wrap it up with a conclusion, and then would at least 2 or 3 people will share their own, and we'll see the way you've written it down. So we have 5 minutes for this exercise. Everybody put down on your notepad yeah, like writing a proposal now. So these are the guidelines for the proposal you're writing. So you have 5 minutes to do just one line, nothing too serious. Just I just want to see you have the structure so that next time you can do it on your own. Okay? So can we do all of us? Can we all do that? Are you guys with me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, it's breaking a little bit. I'm saying that we have a 5 minutes exercise now. I want us to try and write a proposal. These are the guidelines on the screen right now for the proposal. So can we do that? 5 minutes. Just very short, very, very short, nothing too long, but just in this format, just so as the practice towards our being able to write proposals. These are your guidelines. The first line should be your introduction. The second line should state the challenges the organization is having. The third line should propose the solution. That's third paragraph, sorry. Then the fourth paragraph should include the schedule and the budget for the project. Then you wrap up with conclusion. Okay? Can we do that now? And then 3 people are going to share their work with us. So we have 5 minutes. The time is 11:48. So in 5 minutes time we will stop. Okay, so go ahead. Start now.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. It seems the facilitator is out, right? And Mr. Gogotu is out, right?
We are all here now.
Okay, okay.
Are we almost done? Are we done? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Are we almost done?
Almost.
Very
Just
tough.
like
Is
2 minutes
it?
more.
Okay, so you have 2 minutes. So it's 11:53. So 11:55. Okay. So one person is done.
You may check the chat, ma'am.
I'm checking. I'm Gabriel. I can see your own proposal. So we just need 3 people to share so we can go through them and scrutinize if they've met all the requirements. Let's wait for everybody to round up so that we can all participate in it. So everybody, please start rounding up. We have just a minute. Please round up so that we can all. Have 1 minute, everybody. Please round up. else has finished? Okay, everybody, can we stop, please? Can we stop now? Okay, everybody, can we stop? I want to assess the ones I have here. I have from two people. Let's start with Gabriel, everybody. So the first thing to consider when writing the proposal is to start with a firm introduction. So you're introducing your organization. So Gabriel has said the company introduction, ABC Logistics Freight Forwarders. That's what the name of the company is. Okay. And then this next thing is stated the problem. The second thing was states the problem. He has stated the problem that declining the customer's base. That's the example of the problem he gave. He has proposed a solution that is 6 Sigma projects to boost the customer base. And the third thing, he has come up with a schedule and a budget for this project. And then he also wrapped up with a conclusion saying that if properly conducted, the customer base will become robust again by at least 70%. So what's left after this is for us to proofread for him to proofread his work, and he can also give it to somebody to proofread it. But from what I can see, he hasn't made any grammatical errors, and each of them have been done in a different paragraph, which is what we agreed that every idea should be on one paragraph, which is what he has done. So the bottom line is well done to Gabriel. He definitely understands the concept of writing a proposal. It's not as detailed as it should be. It's not as robust because this is just an example, but he gets the idea, which is really important. Okay. So let's see. Well done to you, Gabriel. So let's see Oluwatoyin. So now he has introduced his company. The name of his company is Supreme Constructions, with 8 years of proven construction experience. Okay. Tosin, you haven't put them in different paragraphs. You put everything in one lump sum. We agree they should be in different paragraphs. Then the problem of bad road and this network is quite relevant in society. Proposed solution includes good road. This project for this popularized 2 months to this in this communication. Fair enough. Tosi, are you there? Tosi, can you hear me? Okay. Your job is okay. Yes, you get the whole idea. You've done the introduction, you stated the problem, you propose the solution, you come up with the budget and then the schedule. You've given us a conclusion. The only thing I have with this is that it's supposed to be like the way I would expect. Do you understand? Every idea should be on a different paragraph. That's the only problem I have with this. I think maybe it's because you're writing it on the chat. Maybe that's why. But see the way this person did his own, Gabriel, to make it look like it was a different paragraph. There was a spacing, and then the next idea started in the next level. Do you understand? You can see. Okay, so well done. Then Papa Yebi has sent us something and showed us the clothing shop. The problem, event collaboration and need for sponsorship solution we offer to do for every participant. The date end of September. This. Secured. This, Okoyemi, you haven't given us a conclusion. You didn't wrap up with a conclusion.
I'm sending it in. I'm coming. I'm typing it.
It's okay. You know what? We need to already 12 o'clock, and I'm sure people have other things planned. So let's wrap up. The good thing about it is that at least everybody understands the idea behind it from what I can see. I can see another one from Ogenetega. Everybody understands the concept. So the concept is start with a firm introduction, state the problem, propose the solution, include the schedule and the budget, then wrap up with a conclusion, and always proofread your work and also get someone to proofread your work. So well done to everybody, and I'm glad that everybody understands the concept. So we can just wrap up. I would like 5 volunteers to tell me what they've picked up, what they've learned in this training today. That's how we're going to wrap up. I need 5 volunteers to tell me all the things they've learned in this training today. That's how we'll conclude for today. So who are my 5 volunteers? Tell me what you're taking away from this training today. Who are my 5 volunteers? You want me to start picking people one after the other? Or people did not learn anything from this training. Wow. I'll just start crying for you people.
Okay, well. Okay, this is the Fidayo Adibanjo.
Okay.
First of all, I'll say thank you for this training, ma.
Okay.
The thing I've been able to get from it, number one, communication is not a one-way thing. When you communicate, you must get a response. There must be a feedback. You must be sure you are actually getting a thing back from the person, not just you just talking like a news broadcast. Then,
yes.
Apart from that, there's a difference between hearing and listening. While hearing is passive, listening is active. You have to be conscious and intentional about getting the information, interpreting it. After you interpret, you must be able to then give a response. Also, you must be sure you give clarity on information. Whenever an information is given, you must also you must give a kind of response, a kind of feedback to be sure that okay, you've captured all the information and everything is in place. Then beyond that, let me think.
No, you don't have to. That's well done, well done. You said what you're thinking. Leave for other people to say now. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm glad you were able to pick up all of that on the training. So I'm happy that at least, also I'm happy communication has taken place, that I spoke and you guys understood, okay? So let's have somebody else tell us what they picked up. Thank you very much, Fedayo.
So, good afternoon, ma. Good afternoon, ma. Hello, good afternoon, ma. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Good afternoon.
Okay, one of the things I learned today about communication is I discovered that communication, the basic key to an effective communication is understanding. When somebody can understand what the message you are passing and the purpose is fully justified and satisfied when there is a feedback to that communication, ma.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
and I also learned the tips about, yes, ma. I also learned the tips about listening skills. One shouldn't talk, one should listen. Most often times, okay, we do more of the, people don't have this listening skills. When the person is trying to share their ideas, we find ourselves distracted, not trying to listen to them, not giving them the attention they need. So oftentimes it kind of has a way of affecting our listening skills. So one should be always be attentive and focused when a conversation is going on. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you too very much, Collins. Okay, who is going to volunteer again? What did they pick up from this training? Good afternoon. Grace.
Grace James. Yes, ma'am. What I learned from this training is that listening is a skill that can be learned like every other skill. It's not just about hearing, you hear things every day, you hear noises all around you, but it takes a high level of intentionality to be able to listen and understand whatever you're listening to. So tips to improve nonverbal communication. And you said we should take care of our appearance, we should keep appropriate distance, and we should touch only when appropriate. And you also said we shouldn't be those people that just touch people inappropriately. We should take note of things like that. Thank you, Ma.
All right, thank you very much, Grace. So who else? Amanda, you've not participated in this training. Please tell us what you learned today. So can Amanda speak, please?
Can you hear me?
Yes, Amanda, I can hear you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Amanda, we're waiting for you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. It seems to be going on and off. Okay, Amanda, I cannot hear you. We cannot hear you. Ejiro.
Can you hear me?
Okay, now we can hear you.
Okay.
Can you talk? Oh yeah, go on,
Yes.
talk, Amanda.
What I learned today is that for effective communication to take place, there have to be a feedback. So
Okay.
without you receiving feedback, you've not passed any information.
Okay.
You might
So well
have
done.
something reasonable to pass out, but if the people around you or person you are communicating to does not understand you, effective communication has not taken place.
Okay. All right, thank you. Well done. Adriel, please share with us what you picked up from this training today.
Okay, let me quickly share what I picked up. On the barriers, there are both intentional and unintentional barriers to communication. But one thing I know is that this barrier they should not be seen as a setback to effective communication. Despite the barriers, we can always work out ways to improve our communication skills. Thank you, ma.
All right, thank you very much, Adriel. Okay, so who else? One more person. Ogenetega.
Good afternoon, ma.
Good afternoon, Tega. So tell us, what did you learn from this training today?
Well, I learned a lot, but one thing that is still in my head is that, okay, for you to communicate, there needs to be feedback, and you can either communicate verbally or non-verbally by your gestures or by nodding your head or saying yes, I understand, and then you also still need to let the person know that you're listening. You can always reiterate what the person is saying to you, like, okay, if I get you correctly, you said this, you need guidance and clarity on so just to let the person know that yes, you're actually listening and paying in-depth attention when the person was talking. And also that you should always proofread your emails or texts to ensure that, okay, yes, you are sending your intention is made known, and then you're not speaking in a foul or offensive tone. Your message is not in an offensive tone. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Tega. Okay, so Faidat, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so can you tell us what you're taking with you from this training today? And you're going to wrap it up for us, the last question, so that we can all go back on our schedule and do what we have to do for the rest of the day. Okay?
Okay. Yes. Thank you so much for this session. And I mean, I've learned ways to effectively communicate. Like communication is not only about you speaking. Feedbacks are very, very, very important. Then I particularly liked that part of that video we watched where I told you I noted that part where you said check the tone of your message, and also that part where you said over communicating via emails. I mean, this session has been not just learning about communication, but effectively communicating. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. So thank you all of you for your time. It was nice being part of this session. I hope we don't just learn the things, but we also are able to practice and do the things we've learned in our everyday lives. Okay? To Agogo.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so
God
much. I
bless.
can see all your
Yeah.
messages.
Yeah, thank you so much. So let's have you guys say a kind word to Omo for doing a brilliant job today. Just tell how much you appreciate her on the chat. You can just do that. Thank you very much, Omo, for that wonderful session. I'm sure a lot of them have learned one or two things from effective the cost effective communication. Hello class. So like it's in our usual tradition, I would like somebody to volunteer and on behalf of the class appreciate our wonderful facilitator for a job well done. So let's have somebody volunteer for us and appreciate her on behalf of the entire class for taking out time out of her busy schedule to teach us something about communication. Anybody can do this, please? Oh, yeah, please. Who is helping us? Don't let me call names, so.
Okay. Okay. On behalf of every of us here, everyone here, in KC and then Gap Network Batch 4, we are saying a big thank you to you, Ma. You really did a great work, because bringing such important topic down and then equipping us with the relevant communication skill is actually a thing noteworthy. It's actually a unique opportunity to be under your lecture. We say thank you so much, Ma. Thank you so much. God bless you richly.
You're welcome, and it was nice facilitating with people. And I wish you guys all the best in your careers, and hope you're able to put into practice everything that we've spoken about today. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much, Omo. So we'll get. I'll call
Take
you
care and
later,
speak
maybe.
soon.
Yeah, we will speak later, probably after I've addressed the participants. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Really appreciate from KAC. Thank you so much. Okay, guys. We are having another session by 1 o'clock. So I won't take much of your time, less than 3 minutes. So our next session is effective presentation skills. I said something in the chat. Please get to know most of these facilitators, especially if they are in a field or an area of discipline that you are trying to enter into or to venture into. Get to know them. This is an opportunity you can get their contacts, maybe their email, their handles, go on their Instagram or their LinkedIn page and just say a kind word and try to connect to them. This is how you build your network. So I don't want you to just focus on training. Also focus on building a relationship and a professional relationship that will help you. This week, we are going to connect you to your career counselors and mentors. So be watching out for as they will be assigning you, I will share that information with you. We're going to talk more about that. So I want every one of you to complete your feedback. You already know your feedback link. I'm sure you already know your feedback link. So complete your feedback for this session. I'm also typing it and sending it. Complete your feedback for this session. Very important. I'm sure you know how important this is. So thank you very much. So we'll see you at 1 o'clock. Is there any comment or any question? I'm through for today. Any question, any comment? Yes?
Hello.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, so
yes?
I sent an activity to the group yesterday. So in preparation for the effective presentation skills for today. So I expect that you guys research on those topics as assigned to your groups, because you'll be using it for the session on effective presentation. So the instruction from the facilitator is that you research on those
topics and take out some valid points from those topics. You'll be needing it in today's class session with the facilitator. Hope everyone got the assignment, got the instruction on the group. Did everyone get the instruction?
Yes, sir.
Okay, everybody got it right. Okay,
Sure they
so okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, so that will be all. Let's not keep. If you have any question, please, we can utilize the WhatsApp group. So